To raise, just sort of framing this. One is, I think we just need to step back. There's a big shift here, and let's be clear, and Morgan referenced to it, but I think it's from where we've been and where this is going, which is now this is about online education as opposed to full-time online education. And honestly, if we look to the next 10 years, online is much bigger than what we've been dealing with. I think it's going to become pervasive in education. We're going to have online learning in schools and out of school for individual courses and content in ways that I don't even think we've begun to understand yet. But it's going to be much more pervasive than the number of kids who are in a full-time online program like we've been dealing with Orca and Orpha and all those. And so I think as we go into this, we've really got to step back and say that I think it's appropriate that the legislature has redefined it in these ways. I think all the issues we raised in the paper are still really quite appropriate, because ultimately the question is where do we feel online courses are appropriate? For what students, under what conditions is it legitimate public education that we want to make available at least as an option? And some states are making even requirements that you do online learning. So what kind, is it full-time? Is it elementary, middle, high school? Is it individual classes? Where is the appropriate use of online learning in public education? Who are the providers? Who should have a legitimate, ability to provide those services, whether it's a nonprofit, a ESD, a K-12, higher ed, universities, and the whole range of potential providers. How are you going to pay for it? Who gets to decide who has access to it? Those are all the questions we raised in that paper, and I think are still very much with us. And I think the broad construct of that paper was, and again, in terms of our recommendation, I think we might want to go back and really look carefully at it. It said we imagine that there be a statewide, the words, I can't remember how we used it, Jan, but it was a procurement function where we would invite the folks to come in and offer their services under some, and the language here, I've got to be careful because people jump at different words, but so through some sort of bidding or procurement process where we would license or identify those who we think are legitimate providers. I mean, I think that's what our basic recommendation was. And